As they were eating, Jesus took bread, blessed and broke it, and gave it to the disciples and said, "Take, eat. This is my body." Then he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, "Drink from it, all of you, for this is my blood of the new covenant, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. For I say to you, I will not drink of this fruit of the vine from now on until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom." Wow, amazing. Simply amazing. And when they had sung a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives. Then Jesus said to them, "All of you be made to stumble because of me this night. For it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I have been raised, I will go before you to Galilee." Peter answered and said to him, "Even if are all made to stumble because of you, I will never be made to stumble." His famous last words. Jesus said to him, "Assuredly I say to you this night, before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. Peter said to him, "Even if I have to die with you, I will not deny you." And so said all the disciples. Jesus came with them to a place called Gethsemane and said to the disciples, "Sit here while I go and pray over there." Sorry. He took with him Peter of the 2 disciples, the sons of Zebedee, and he began to be sorrowful and deeply distressed. Then he said to them, "My soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even to death. Stay here and watch with me." He went a little further and fell on his face and prayed, saying, "O my Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as your will." Then he came to the disciples and found them sleeping and said to Peter, "What? Could you not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray, lest you enter into temptation. The spirit is indeed willing, but the flesh is weak." Again, a second time, he went away and prayed, saying, "O my Father, if this cup cannot pass away from me unless I drink it, you will be done." And he came and found them sleeping again, for their eyes were heavy. So he left them, went away again and prayed the 3rd time, saying the same words. Then he came to his disciples and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is being betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us be going. See, my betrayer is at hand." While he was still speaking, behold, Judas, one of his 12 disciples, which he trusted, and with the great multitude with swords and clubs, came from the chief priests and the elders of the people. Now his betrayer had given them a sign, saying, "Whomever I kiss, he is the one. Seize him." Immediately he went up to Jesus and said, "Greetings, Rabbi," and kissed him. Oh, how sad. Someone you loved, someone so close to you, could betray you with a kiss. But Jesus said to him, "Friend, why have you come?" They came and laid hands on Jesus and took him. And suddenly, one of those who were with Jesus stretched out his hand and drew his sword and struck the servant of the high priest and cut off his ear. But Jesus said to him, "Put your sword in its place, for all who take the sword will perish by the sword. Or do you think that I cannot pray to my Father, and he will provide me with more than 12 legions of angels. How then could the scriptures be fulfilled that it must happen and thus? And that our Jesus said to the multitudes, have you come out as against a robber with swords and clubs to take me? I sat daily with you, teaching in the temple and in the synagogues, and you did not seize me. You didn't even approach me. But all this was done that the scriptures of the prophets might be fulfilled. Then all the disciples forsook him and fled. Jesus faces the Sanhedrin. Those who had laid hold of Jesus led him away to Caiaphas, the high priest, where the scribes and the elders were assembled. But Peter followed him at a distance to the high priest's courtyard, and he went in and sat with the servants to see the end. The chief priests, the elders, and all the council sought false testimony against Jesus to put him to death, but found none. Even though many false witnesses came forward, they still found none. But at last, 2 false witnesses came forward and said, this fellow said, I am able to destroy the temple of God and to build it in 3 days. The high priest arose and said to him, do you answer nothing? What is it these men testify against you? But Jesus kept silent, and the high priest answered and said to him, I put you under oath by the living God. Tell us if you are the Christ, the Son of God. Jesus said to him, it is as you said. Nevertheless, I say to you, hereafter you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the power and coming on the clouds of heaven. The high priest tore his clothes, saying, he has spoken blasphemy. What further need do we have of witnesses? Look, now you have heard his blasphemy. What do you think? They answered and said, he is deserving of death. They spat in his face and beat him, and others struck him with the palm of their hands, saying, prophesy to us, Christ, who is the one who struck you. They put a thorn of thistles on his head and beat him. Peter sat outside in the courtyard, and a servant girl came to him saying, you also were with this Jesus of Galilee. But he denied it before them all, saying, I did not know what you are saying. When he had gone out to the gateway, another girl saw him and said to those who were there, this fella here also was with Jesus of Nazareth. But again, he denied with an oath, I do not know the man. A little later, those who stood by came up and said to Peter, surely you also are one of them, for your speech betrays you. Then he began to curse and swear, saying, I do not know the man. Immediately a rooster crowed, and Peter remembered the word of Jesus, who had said to him, before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. So he went out and wept bitterly. Would we have done the same? If we were presented with the same time, the same thing, would we have denied him, knowing that we could be crucified, or that our life would be on the edge? Or would we just retreat and say, I don't know the man, just like Peter has stated 3 times. Even Jesus said 3 times, and he still denied him 3 times. I think in haste and back in those days, I'd probably stand up and say the same thing, because you'd be worried about your own life. Obviously, they didn't have the faith, or was the devil working on them? At the height of his ministry and miracles, many Jews came to believe in Jesus as the Messiah, the Son of God. Jewish leaders feared Jesus because of his growing followers. With the help of Judas Iscariot, Roman soldiers arrested Jesus, and he was put on trial for claiming to be the King of the Jews. According to Roman law, the punishment for rebellion against the king was death by crucifixion. The Roman governor, Pontius Pilate, was reluctant when it came to the punishment for Jesus. Pilate could find no wrong in Jesus, yet he wanted to give the people what they wanted, and that was the death of Jesus. Pilate washed his hands in front of the crowd to symbolize that he was not taking responsibility for the bloodshed of Jesus. He basically asked the people there, who do you want me to release? Jesus, who's claiming to be the king, the Messiah, or Barabbas, a murderer, a criminal, a killer?